Today we are going to talk about cost of living in Japan, and in specific we are going to discuss our monthly expenses.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Friendia.
Welcome back everyone.
Okay, let's start with our biggest spending, which is obviously the rent.
We live in Tokyo, just outside actually, but it's more or less Tokyo. We live in a 1 LDK apartment. 1 LDK means there is one bedroom, there is a living room, there is a dining room, and there is a kitchen.
So for the rent, we pay 125,000 yen.
This includes both the rent and also the management fee we pay to the apartment building. So the rent is around 120,000 to be more specific, and 5,000 is for the management.
Like the maintenance of the common areas and everything. So the rent we pay also happens to be the average rent in Tokyo, but of course if you go more downtown, closer to the center, price will stack up.
Yeah. And then again, if you go to the outskirt area, obviously the price will be lower than the average price. But speaking of average again, just to be more clear, I think for 1 LDK apartment, it's 125,000. But if you want a bigger space, then the prices go up. If you are fine with an apartment which has smaller space, then obviously you will pay less than 125,000.
The second one is the parking space. We actually do not have a car, so we don't pay parking space, but it is between 30,000 yen to 50,000 yen per month.
Obviously, like the rent, if you are parking your car within the central districts, then you will pay a lot more. It will be closer to 50,000 or maybe even more. But if you're living outside, just outside the central areas, it will be around 40,000, 30,000 yen.
I haven't even heard people paying 20,000 yen when it's outside the center. So
that's basically the parking space rent. So
the third point will be the groceries.
We will only talk about work week grocery spendings. And work week basically means from Monday to Friday.
So on an average for work week, we spend around 6,000 yen.
This is a bit lower compared to what people might spend on an average, because we eat outside with our colleagues sometimes for lunch.
So it basically counts breakfast and dinner.
But we also take out bentos, which is lunchbox sometimes. But there are days in a week when we also eat with our colleagues outside. But if you do eat all, like the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, everything homemade,
it would be more around 8,000 yen per week.
But talking about like our personal spendings, we spend a bit more than 6,000, especially when we go out and shop in Costco.
So in Costco, we usually tend to buy more imported food. So it's cheaper than the imported food you could find outside of Costco, but it's of course more expensive than your standard Japanese groceries.
Absolutely. And the reason why we go out and buy imported food is because neither Eloise nor me is from Japan, so we want to eat something that's from our own country. So that's why we shop in Costco sometimes. Point number 4 is utilities.
So utilities is electricity, gas, and water bills.
We happen to pay around 10,000 yen per month for these utilities. I think this is kind of an average price you would pay for these utilities in Tokyo. But obviously, again, if you live in the central area, it might be a slightly higher. And
also, of course, depending in summer, you will use the aircon more often, winter as well. So it also
varies depending on the season. Absolutely. So autumn and I guess spring you might
pay a bit
tend
less,
to pay a bit less. But as Eloise mentioned, summer and winter, you
hard
tend
to
pay
survive without the aircon in summer.
Especially in summer. Point number 5 is your smartphones.
So per month we pay around 5,000 yen for both our phones.
But we have contracted with Y Mobile, which is a low-cost subsidiary of SoftBank, one of the biggest telecommunication companies in Japan.
In Japan, there's like 3 main. There's Docomo, au, and SoftBank. But after in the recent years, they created like different smaller companies that are more low cost, and those are the one we are subscribed to. So it's a bit cheaper.
It's a bit cheaper, and if you subscribe to their parent companies, SoftBank, Docomo, or AU, then you will end up paying a bit more than what you pay for low-cost subsidies. So actually, this has gotten better with time. When I first came to Japan 8 years ago, I used to pay 14,000 yen per month for Docomo. I think this was a bit of a rip-off because I didn't speak much of Japanese, so I didn't know what I was doing back then. But now I'm paying around 2,500 yen per month, so it's a massive improvement.
Yeah, when we arrived to Japan, they only had those 3 mother companies. They didn't have the more low-cost one.
Yeah.
So it was hard to pay less than 4,000 yen.
Yeah.
I think they didn't have cheap subscription before.
Yeah, and also if you want to subscribe to some of these companies, you need to have credit card. And when you come to Japan as a beginner in Japan, you don't get credit cards so easily, so you end up actually contracting with these big mother companies. It's something to be careful about, especially in Japan when dealing with these big telecommunication companies.
Number 6 is internet bills.
So we have contracted with the same company for internet as well as our smartphone connectivities. So we pay, as mentioned, we paid 5,000 yen for our smartphone connections, and we pay around the same for internet. So overall we pay to this company 10,000 yen for 2 smartphones as well as the internet connectivity.
And also good internet, because we are working from home, so we need to be able to work, both of us, with the internet, so it's really good.
It works seamlessly, and I highly recommend SoftBank Hikari internet connectivity.
And the last point is the commuting to work.
So the commuter expense tends to be somewhere in between 10,000 to 15,000 per month.
It really depends where you're working, because how it works is you pick your house station and your work station, and it was automatically put the way to your work.
And based on the lines you will take, depending on the route, of course, the price tends to be different. But typically it tends to be between 10,000 to 15,000 yen. But the point is, typically the commuter expense is paid by your company. Essentially, you pay with your money at the beginning, but later on they reimburse
on your salary every month.
Yeah, so this is an expense for you, but typically reimbursed by your company. So this is not exactly a cash expense an individual level.
And also it's really nice. So how it works is you have, like, in this portion of the lines you're using, it's basically free in a way. So if you're using it to work, it's paid by your company, but you can also use it on weekend and it won't cost you anything. It's still part of the package.
Yeah, so it would be good to have this monthly passes so that you can also use for your private, especially if you use the same lines to spend your weekends, etc. Okay, that is all the things we wanted to share today.
If you have any more questions on spendings in Japan and life in Japan, don't hesitate to comment down below. We will be really happy to help you. Thank you for watching the video, and if you enjoyed watching it, please don't forget to like it and subscribe.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.